Welcome along to EXFL Tier 2 Season 13. We are here for round 2 out of 20. It's the Chinese Grand Prix. We have returned to Shanghai for the first time in a year and a half, 3 seasons ago in Season X. We raced around this fabled track. 14 drivers in qualifying for an 18-minute qualifying session. We are waiting 1 or 2 more, but I don't know if they'll join. But for now, these 14 will battle it out to see who will get pole position. As I said, EXFL has returned to China. One of 2 tracks returning to the calendar. The other, in a fortnight's time, will be Miami. But yeah, China, the very long, elongated right-handers, the big battles that go along, the extreme tyre wear that can follow you, and of course the second race to this new generation of cars. So, if you didn't see last week, the opening round, it was quite the opening round. Very, very exciting and interesting events unfolding. Dello won the opening race for Red Bull. He is not here today, so the championship leader allowing everyone else, I guess, to close up. Specifically, I guess, Grush, who finished runner-up last week in P2, so he will definitely be in a hot seat to be taking the championship lead today if he does well enough as he exits the pit lane. As more emphasis on that, third place, Yannick, is also not racing today. So first and third from last week, they'll have to hopefully return next week and see what they can carry on with. So for Grush, bit of an opportunity today. Last week's race winner for all race with Dello and Yannick. They were always going to be the main 3 from that race, and it's great that they got the podium. But yeah, 2 of those are not here today, so Grush will see how much he can gain on that, but there are others who are definitely going to be fighting him. 4th in that race was also Martin, who didn't have the greatest qualifying, I believe down in 8th or 9th, I think it was 8th, but managed to get 4th in the end, fighting Yannick for the podium. And we know the rookie is certainly going to be showing some good promise, as we've seen from pre-season testing. 5th last week was Eggy as well. He managed to do pretty well to bag a solid 10 points for Mercedes. We'll see what he can do around here. One of the only drivers, I think, who has done a Chinese Grand Prix in EXFL Tier 2. A handful of people. Cow is also one of them. I think he is, at least. Yeah, he's probably done 1 or so. But P10 last week, he managed to get a point on the board to start out the season strong. Really trying to find that pace on his return with McLaren. Toby with Williams, it was looking strong in the first part of the race until everything just went wrong, unfortunately, for the blue outfit, alongside Fnatic, who I'm sure will be doing what he does every quali, just every lap faster and faster and faster. Even if it's seconds off, he'll slowly improve, and then right at the end he should be able to do a good enough lap time. But a big name is making his first race appearance of the season. He wasn't here last week and his teammate went on to win. Now he is here this week and his teammate is not here. Welcome to Tier 2 Season 13, the runner-up from Tier 2 Season 12. It's Samurai, who's moved from Williams to Red Bull, and we're going to see just what he can do. Samurai also another driver who's been in an EXFL China race, but not Tier 2, Tier 1. So we'll see what he can do. The sole Red Bull for tonight, as Cookster has set the pace outright at the beginning. Cookster, who's had a bit of an on and off start to the season. There were a lot of promise. He qualified in the top 6, dropped outside the points, but then clawed his way all the way back up to 4th at one stage. Finished 6th in the end, but due to a post-race penalty, finished 8th. So he'll be hoping for a little bit more than that this time around. But right now, he's set a pretty good lap, actually, of a 33.1 banker. Now, Tier 1, they were in the 31s, so you'd expect Tier 2 today to be in the 32s. Pole in Tier 1 was a 31.2, and so usually it's a second difference. So you'd expect pole today to be around about a low 32, I'd say so. But we'll see what people can do. We've got others like Sasha making his second appearance. Another rookie in the field, reserve though, at Haas 2 weeks in a row. Same with Aaron. The actual Haas lineup of Stepan and Adam. At this rate, it's Aaron and Sasha who are the actual Haas lineup, as they reserve once again as Eggy and Grush put in a good lap there to dip into the 1:32s. Grush, who took pole last week, the only man into the 1:17s, and it wasn't even that close, with a 0.7 over a quarter of a second ahead of Dello. As there's Charlie, I believe. Alright, so Charlie's going to join the Cadillac driver. So a bit on and same with Red Bull really. One of their drivers races the first race, and the second it's the other driver. Hopefully he remembers he's in Cadillac, otherwise that would be a bit embarrassing. Dubs has crossed the line in P7. Dubs, who I think got involved in a few incidents last week towards the back, as of course we had that safety car at the end of the race, which after looking at the replays, I believe that was mainly caused by drifting. I didn't catch it at the time, but the corner where Alonso and Russell had their thing 3 years ago with the quote-unquote brake test, drifting kind of lost him, went straight into the wall and lost his whole wing, and it didn't help on the start-finish straight at the same time. Dubs and I think Poisonous Gold had an incident as well, so those two things just promoted the safety car out. But for now, Samurai's gone P4 to make it the top 4 teams in real life, the top 4 on the grid. Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, as Grush is going to go for once again another run, and it looks like on the same compounded tyres. So, diving into turn 1 then, the long, elevated right-hand up, where it just feels like it's never going to stop, down to second gear for that bit of extra rotation, sweep it left, close to the inside, not wanting to run too wide. On the power as soon as possible, blasting the battery, straight mode on, turns the battery off. You can hear the lifting down into the end of sector 1. He's 79 thousandths down, on the power, on the hairpin. This track rewards you for carrying momentum and speed. And you just have to be smooth with it. So close to the inside curve, which on previous games can absolutely send you. This one, not as much. Through probably the most technical part of the racetrack, the slowest part, definitely. The couple left-handers as Martin goes P2 within a tenth of Grush. We'll see his middle sector split. Is he up? He's found 100th, but it's still not enough to put him in the green. Darting left, right, another very, very long right-hander. Power as soon as possible. Blast the rest of your battery all the way down to the end. Straight mode on. Clocking over 200 mile an hour as we pass the DHL board. And he'll just have to spot his braking zone, spot his lifting zone. Lifts, brakes, gets it stopped, misses the apex slightly, runs a bit wide, brushes it off with the power to combat his momentum. One corner left then for Grush. Can he improve after being down in the first 2 sectors? Crosses the line, and he does improve. He found a huge chunk of time in the last sector to put some distance between him and the rest. So good luck from the McLaren and the Aston. Just 3.5 tenths behind the McLaren. We'll see what Cookster's doing, but it looks like he's nowhere near close enough for a good lap to beat his own. Eggy out of the pits for the second time. As looks like that's Sasha about to begin another run. Cal up in 8th at the moment, not too bad, 11 times on the board however. Charlie is in his Cadillac, so that's great to see. He, for some reason, thought we started at 7:30, when I swear this guy has been in the league for over a year. So, don't really know how that one works. Christian's turned the pits. Nathan in the pits. Scher is out there. I believe just beginning a lap then. So, what's a good first sector time? I'd say a low 24 is pretty good. And it's a 24.2, which I believe is actually a bit better than what Grush managed. And he's got quite a bit of decent battery. Has the Aston, not deciding to blast at that part of the track, saving it all up I guess, unless he's using hot lap or something. I don't really know what a lot of the tier 2 drivers consider their techniques. However, he's got a lot of traffic in front of him, and this is really not going to be helping his dirty air. They do realise eventually and get out of his way, but unfortunately that has cost him 52.7. It's still looking decent for the season 1 OG I guess from tier 1. How we'd love to see Shirt performing well in tier 2 after making his debut last week. qualifying 14th, but it was because he got impeded at the end. Otherwise, he could have been well inside the top 10. And after some great moves, showing he still has the experience, kicking in with the muscle memory, after being out of it for quite a while now in the league racing scene, it looks like it almost looked like from that camera angle he's backed off, but he's not backing off. One corner to go then for the Aston, and we'll see where he can slot his car across the line then, and he goes to P4 to put it 2 Astons inside the top 4. Good effort from Sher. We know there's maybe a bit of time there considering he got slightly impeded. But yeah, Sher managed to finish P8 in the game result, but due to Cookster's penalty, he managed to get P7. So not too bad for Sher, I believe. It was, yeah, P8 to P7. And, Fnatic got promoted from 7th to 6th. Yeah, that was it. So Grush is currently in the pits. Martin's on an outlap, same with Cookster. What about Eggy? He's up by a 10th in the middle sector, just passing the Alpine there. But it looks like this last sector is where most people are finding their time. Very similar to last week, where the last sector was the make or break part of the track. Riding on board with the Mercedes, diving it in, taking it very nicely indeed. You just want to clip the inside curb, not take too much of it. Bit more to the left than I've seen people do, and it drifts all the way right. That's a very unique line I haven't really seen many people take. But Eggy crosses the line, and he goes back onto the front row. Eggy, who's no stranger to setting a great lap, has done it again. And, towards the second half of last season, we did see him alongside Oren mainly on the front row quite a few times. So good lap from him, and he's into the 32s now. What about Cookster? Nope. So let's try Martin on for size. The other Martin of Samurai is just finishing a lap, I believe. We'll just finish sector 1 with the Aston. Yellows of one of the Williams letting one of the Hasses or Cadillacs through. They are both white dots, so I don't really get that. 24-1 for Martin. Good first sector. But let's check back in with Samurai. Crosses the line. 33-2. Found a couple tenths improvement, but stays where he is. 5 thousandths off Sher. So the one to watch now then is Martin. Can he find 3.5 tenths to put himself in the fight for pole position ahead of Grush? It's looking pretty good. And he is up by more than enough time that he needs. So he'll carry on his way through the final sector. And Martin throwing his hat into the ring in just his second race in EXFL Tier 2. Aston proving to be quite a powerhouse at the moment in this qualifying session. You can't say that about real life. Blasting all his battery down the back straight then. Heading into the high braking zone. Lifting, braking, matching, locking up, but he gets it stopped. One corner to go then. And this is a make or break corner. Can so easily go wide and invalidate. But he's not gonna. He'll cross the line then. Can he beat Grush's time across the line? He's done it by quite a lot. And he found an even bigger margin at the end of Sector 3 to put himself in the low 32s. That is where I assumed they would be for pole. So solid stuff from the Aston. Now we see what Grush can do to respond. He will do 2 runs, I believe, like he always does. So never discount him. What about Martin? Does he go again? Can he even get back to the pits with 4 minutes to go from here? We don't know. We'll find out though. See his teammate still in the pit. Same with Sasha, Toby. Samurai's in the pits now, so he should be fine. Sure. Cookster, middle sector. Yeah, we're talking thousandths here for Cookster, I guess. More of a spread out field than last week. Last week was a bit closer, but China, to be fair, a lot of them haven't done it in a while. It's one of those tracks that has been returned, obviously, so it's not a mainstream track, but it does promote good racing, and we've missed it. And these cars are pretty good around it. So Martin should be okay to head into the pits as he locks up again. Grush finishes the first sector split then, and he has found nearly 2 tenths of improvement. That is exactly what he needed to challenge the Aston, who is into the pit lane and has about a minute and 10 to 15 seconds to get in, get out, which I think he should be able to, as the Alpine ahead of him is into the pit lane as well. So let's look back to Grush. Nathan in the Alpine making his 111th appearance, tying the most active driver at the moment of Chaz F1, who hasn't shown up for quite a while now, as Grush is up by a quarter of a second. He needs 9 thousandths more to equal Martin. But like I said, the last sector is where people are gaining the most, and he's got a decent amount of battery. So he's got to just send it all guns blazing, give 100% like he's done throughout all this qualifying, and retake pole position. He's taken that a lot better than last time. He actually hit the apex. So on the exit, blasting his battery. 1 corner left then for the McLaren. How much does he risk? Over the inside curb. I think he was a bit hesitant. He wants to finish this lap because he knows he can go again, but he doesn't have to because he's put it back on provisional pole while the rest are beginning their outlaps. So he knows he's the one to beat again. 59,000 says there's a bunch of cars off the track getting out of his way. But game on between these two at the front. Good lap from Grush. And he'll go again, but we know Martin can go again if he gets out in time. We've lost Dubs and we've lost Christian. So there'll be no higher than 10th and 13th. Charlie about to begin his run. We see Scher has just begun his run as well. Diving down into turn 1 then. You just see the gears tick off. 5th, 4th, 3rd. Keeps it in 3rd, surprisingly. I've seen a lot of people go 2nd. There. Momentarily P2. Back up to 3rd. Cow retires quite early in P9. Does he not think he can go? Well, you can see an orange dot straight on at turn 1 there. So maybe he's messed up a little. I'm not too sure. Okay, so Scher lacking 2 thousandths in the first sector to his best time. But he charges on. This is where he got slightly impeded by Dirty Air. However, he's not exactly taken that part great, and he actually runs off the track in doing so. And he's down, unfortunately. And with 30 seconds left, this might be it for the Aston, who's starting 5th at best, unless Samurai or anyone else can knock him further down. Eggy's just begun his final lap. Grush is about to begin his last run. Martin has got 15 seconds to cross the line, and he's only just in the 3rd sector. So the time coordination hasn't paid off for him, and that's it for him. Martin will be 2nd at best then, and that might give the pole to Grush unless anyone else can deliver a monster lap. Scher will cross the line. Has he found any sort of improvement? That is a no. He did find some time in the last, but it wasn't enough to beat Samurai. Down, unfortunately, in the middle sector. What about the Williams? As Charlie goes up to 7th in the end there. Very good lap from the Cadillac. Grush, he's slightly up in the first sector. Eggy, lacking slightly, but he's found a nice chunk of time in the middle. Slightly wide there, however, as he's really trying to push that Mercedes to the limit. Grush lost 7 thousandths, but he's still fractionally up. What about Cookster? He's just behind us. Sasha goes up to P4. Good lap from the Haas. As Samurai will cross the line, and he goes up to P4. He found a lot of time in the last sector to put himself on the front row, which he very much needed. Next door will be Eggy, who's gone, I think from that camera angle, quite wide in retrospect to his previous run. Eggy sends it into the last corner. Let's see what he's got. Quite a bit of battery across the line. Eggy, it'll be P3. He does improve slightly. And now we'll see what Cookster can do. Marginally up in the middle. But it looks like as Grush crosses the line, he doesn't improve. But it might not matter. Cookster, he now goes up to P4. He found some time to replace Samurai. Fanatic goes up to P4. And then I think there was another change right at the end there. He's 5th. Was it Toby who just went into the top 5? Either way, Grush has done it. He didn't need the second run. He's got pole position. And it was Toby who made it a Williams 3 and 5. Well done to Williams right at the end. We'll be seeing that a lot this season. Grush takes pole. 59 thousandths ahead of Martin, who couldn't get his final run in due to poor time management, I guess. Toby, great lap at the end for 3rd. Eggy 4th. Fnatic rounds out the top 5, Cooks to 6, Samurai 7th, Sasha 8th, Sher 9th, and Charlie to round out the top 10. They were trading 4ths the whole time, and then Toby went one better right at the end there. Cal knocked down to 11th, Dubs, Nathan, Aaron, and then Christian will start 15th at the back. Oh, that was a pretty fun quali. Martin, get in there, you know, rookie experience against pretty experienced. Just bit by bit, he'll learn these things, the order of which way to qualify and how much time is left and how much he needs to push. I actually did think he was safe, but maybe he spent a bit too much time in the pit lane, and it didn't quite work out for him. If he went for that final run, could he have found 600s? Probably. But for now, he moves on to the race with a great chance of fighting Grush. The top 4 from last week, 2 of them are not racing. The other 2 are on the front row, so they're definitely keeping up their great momentum. We've got Toby up there, along with Fnatic. That's a much better qualifying for Williams than last week, who will be surely hoping to get a lot more out of today than last week, as well, as the race just didn't really unfold for either of them. The overcut for Fnatic that usually always works with last generation of cars didn't really work last week. And Toby, he was great at the start, and then he just made mistakes of spinning. So we'll see how Williams bounce back. Formation lap time then. Let's see. So Martin has opted for the hard compound tyres. He's the only one in the top 7 to do that. And then Sasha, Sher, Charlie and Cow all in a row, also on the white stripe tyre, and then Dubs, Nathan, Aaron and Christian right at the back, all on the yellow. Toby, Eggy, Fnatic, Cooks to Samurai on the mediums as well. That's 5, well, a third on hards and the other 2/3 on the medium. So Grush, you'd think, should be able to get a good getaway here, but Martin will be hoping to not lose too much ground, and then this race, if it is between these two, could come down to Martin chasing Grush down at the end, but it could be completely different to that. So, Grush, it's 2 out of 2 poles so far this season. He takes his 8th overall Tier 2 pole position. 2 wins to his name though. He won the opening round of the season last season, and obviously his home race at Britain last season. So he'll be looking for a 3rd win out of those 8 poles. Of course, Grush has only ever converted 1 of them into victory, which was his home race. And I'm sure he'll definitely be trying to up that conversion rate. He's such a good qualifier, but he just needs to find that extra bit of pace in the race to maintain his position, and we'll see what the rest can do. So many different attributes, strengths and weaknesses throughout these guys. Martin, a promising rookie, up and coming, can make some mistakes slightly here and there that are a bit unorthodox in terms of speeding in the pit lane in the social race, or like we just saw in qualifying, of time management. Toby, who's been a bit bipolar, I guess is the right word to say, where the consistency is kind of out the window with him, so he definitely needs to improve on that. But 3rd and 5th, great showing for Williams. Let's see how much they can hold it. Eggy, the tyre whisperer, as a Fnatic fails his parking. At a track like today, that could come in handy very much. Cookster, starting 6th last week, I think, or 5th or 6th, and starting 6th today. Let's, for his sake, hope he maintains that, or at least doesn't drop outside the top 10. Right, we're waiting for the 15th and final car to line up on the grid of Christian, and then we will all be set for EXFL to return to China in Tier 2. 5 lights on then, ahead of the drivers here in Shanghai. It was a long hold, but it's lights out, and away we go. Grush versus Martin down into turn 1, and on those yellow striped tyres, Grush leads the Grand Prix. Eggy is ahead of the Williams in P3, and will try and size up the inside, challenge Martin for P2. Going off in the background, Fnatic has dropped all the way to the back. Martin getting his elbows out, down the inside, back in front of the Mercedes, but the Mercedes with the momentum, with the traction, still fighting away as we dive down into the hairpin. Eggy with the inside line, later on the brakes, gets the move done. Can Martin hang it around the outside? No. Eggy's gone from 4th up to P2. So Martin's lost a place, Toby's lost a place, Sasha's up a good few places, good for him. As same with Sher, Cookster and Samurai lost a couple. Christian, again, mighty start from him, up 5 places. And Dubs up, Aaron up 3 places, Dubs and Nathan stay where they are. What has happened to Fnatic and Cal? Such a shame for one of the Williams, as we see a move on the Cadillac. I think that may have been on Samurai, actually. And maybe that's payback for what happened in Hungary a few seasons ago. It looked like a late send for Charlie, who now sees himself right at the back. So, you can see all 15 cars coming into view right there and then. It's one of the greatest views, I think, to see all the cars as Grush leads ahead of Eggy. Then Martin, I'm not sure he'll be too annoyed that he's only lost 1 place there, as Cookster is fighting away with Sher. Cookster, who dropped outside the points last week, has managed to hold on to his position, this time on lap 1. And we know he's got decent pace, but Sher on those hard compound tyres doing really well to be fighting with him. So, biggest gainer, Christian, 6 places up from where he began. And Fnatic, after being last here one lap ago, is already up 5 places. So, what a half of a lap for him he has done, as Cow has made up 1 place due to Charlie's spin. So, reminder there, Martin has lost a place. Sasha, I mean, that's actually really incredible from him. He started 8th, up 3 places on the hard compound tyres. And same with Sher, up 2 places on the hards. So, very good stuff for the Haas, making his 2nd appearance, just like Martin. Sasha, who was always running outside the top 10 last week, maybe just slightly in it, 9th, 10th, 13th, whatnot. This is a much stronger showing, and this is great to see for the reserve at the moment, trying to find a full-time seat. And if the Haas boys don't actually turn up too much, it might be the full-time seat in the red and white. So it's not been the greatest start for Samurai, who is kind of at the back of this train. Christian's actually doing pretty well to keep with these guys. Fnatic's just slightly lacking, as we see up in front. Martin trying to retake P2. Locks to the inside. Has the inside line. Eggy hanging it around the outside. And Martin keeping over to the left. Eggy to the inside. Can Martin do the switchback, as Eggy has got the line kind of weirdly correct, because he's managed to hold his momentum. However, they're all both out of battery, as Grush is managing to pull away slightly here. Eggy parking the bus, goes wide. That invites Martin up the inside on the Mercedes. The German driver versus the other German driver, and they're still side by side. Great fighting between them, but Eggy prevails for now. Toby all over the back of them, as Sasha's actually been dropped a little here. Eggy goes defensive. Martin breaks round the outside. Bit too deep. And he's caught on the curb. So Eggy holds it now, but Martin blasts his battery. Still trying to find a way past the Mercedes. Can't quite do it, but they're still managing to keep within a second of Grush, luckily. And yeah, Sasha letting the top 4 break away slightly here, as he's got Cookster and Sher and Samurai with him, and now Christian is starting to fall a bit behind and under pressure from Fnatic. As we see down the inside, Martin's not giving up, and he's back in front of P2, and Toby out of nowhere trying to spy a gap on the inside of Eggy, but Eggy not letting it happen. 100%, 80%, 60%, 50% for Grush, as down the back straight. Eggy's coming under pressure from Toby, as Samurai is ahead of Sher. As something must have happened there. Eggy under pressure from Toby down the inside. Eggy looks like he's not going to fight it too much. Tries the switchback though on the Williams, and he's got that pretty well, but they're still side by side with the momentum. Toby moves to the right to cover off, then breaks, darts left, and he's got the move done. Has the Williams. As we see, Grush still hasn't broken a second, because Martin's got the blue. As we see Samurai down the inside, get past Sasha, who's been overtaken by Cookster as well. So Sasha's dropped 2 places, and the Red Bull and the red car of Cookster make their way past, but they've got a bit of a gap to close up. So, big fight between these 3 for second, but Grush hasn't, I wouldn't say capitalised, but he hasn't pulled away from it. Let's look further back. Fnatic has got Christian. Cal fighting away with Aaron, and looks like he's got the move done. These 5 all fighting for nothing really at the moment. 11th all the way down to 15th, so Christian is increasing his chances of a point finish here. Good for him. As 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and even 10th. To be honest, Christian's still not that far away from these guys. So the grid's kind of separated into 3 different trains. 1st to 4th, 5th to 10th, 11th to 15th. Top 4 all pretty spaced out, however. Eggy's got a pretty good amount of battery compared to those in front. Actually, yeah, let's check fuel. So Martin's under fuel, Eggy's under fuel, Cookster's under fuel. So is Sasha. So is Sher. And that's it. This is Charlie to the inside on Aaron. Aaron goes very wide there. And, well, Charlie, who spun, has now caught the pack again. Martin closing back up to Grush. Those hards are going to be much better than those mediums soon. Due to the tyre wear. We might even see someone try a 2-stop. And if it was to be a 2, as we see Cal and Nathan fight into turn 1. Nathan trying to switch back to the inside of the McLaren. I think there was a slight tap there, and there was definitely a slight tap there. As Dubs in his mirrors, full of pink and papaya. On the exit, Cal, oh dear. Good, I thought Cal was going around there, but Cal lost the car slightly. He's still fighting this with the Alpine, who brakes very late. Nearly runs into the back of the RB, and Cal says thank you very much as Sher and Fnatic are fighting away. Sher to the inside. Looks like Fnatic has got this done, unless Sher can hang it on the grass, which he cannot. Tries the switch, but can't really get it with the tight, twisty corner there. Cal has gotten ahead of Nathan out of all that. So fighting everywhere you look. As look at this. Cookster and Samurai have checked out from this fight, and now they're joining the fight all the way up to 3rd. I said it might be these 2 branching away, because it looks like Toby, unfortunately, just hasn't got the pace to stick with them. So, Martin versus Grush, 2 different strategies. And if you wanted to do the 2-stop, I'd say lap 7, 8 for hard or hard medium or whatnot. As a Fnatic ahead of Sasha, he's on a bit of a comeback charge now. Was 5th, was 15th, and 5 laps in, he's already back to 7th. So great stuff for the Williams. The other Williams under pressure from Eggy. As there's a change of leadership. Martin around the outside. Gets ahead of Grush, and Eggy to the inside. Gets ahead of Toby, or does he? Because Toby still to the inside. Bangs the tyre of the Mercedes. And they're still going side by side as Sher and Sasha are fighting action everywhere you look. But Martin is now into the lead. Ahead of Grush. Those mediums really not helping him. And yeah, it looked like the hards were the more favourable tyre to start on at this rate. It definitely was yesterday. So Fnatic has left Sher a little bit under pressure from Sasha. Looks like he's really struggling on exits. On the hards as well. That's quite surprising. Samurai, he sees all the way up to 3rd on the cards here. As while these guys battle, it's allowing these 2 to break away slightly, but Grush is struggling to keep with. And the way this will probably go is Martin might be a few seconds ahead when Grush pits around lap 11, 12-ish, which is double the stint he's having to do right now. And then Grush will undercut, and then it'll be Martin's job to chase him down, a bit like what he's done in the first few laps. Here we see Cookster closing up on Toby. Will he send it late to the inside? Yes, he will. The Ferrari trying to take P4 away from the Williams. Tries a switch back, but to no avail. Grush now in the yellow. Cookster up to P4 then. Good stuff from the Ferrari. Big fight happening with all 5 of these cars. I think Charlie's been tagged there. He has. I think by Nathan as he's ghosting. He's going this way and that. And Charlie tags Nathan back. And he gets the move done. Don't know if I approve of that. but they're all fighting like it's worth the win when all of them are fighting for nothing at this rate. But Cal has managed to claw his way past them all after he was dead last on the opening lap to be back up into 11th, but they are 5 seconds off any sort of points. Looks like no one's close enough for any moves in the top 10, so we'll carry on with this. That's a very nice switch from the RB until he gets it all wrong in the second phase. And Charlie takes that away from him into 12th and down the inside. Nathan pressures Dubs to the inside on the Cadillac. He has to rear slide not to hit the white and black, and they all manage to avoid any sort of contact. It's actually pretty cool racing between them all, even if it's a bit out of pocket. So Cal leads them on. Very colourful helmet. Charlie's is quite nice. Maybe it's a China inspired one, I don't know. I mean, he thought the race was at 7:30, so clearly he didn't make it for today. For today, I guess. As Nathan all over the back of Dubs. Not happy, I think, where he is. We'll look back to the front real quick. Martin, 1.5 ahead of Grush now. Eggy, sizable gap to Cookster to not be under any sort of pressure. Single file then, Toby, as Cookster runs wide. But now that will actually help him get a good exit. Then Samurai, Fnatic, Sasha, who I think his pace has fallen away in the first stages. Down the inside, Charlie fights away with Cow. And Nathan fights away with Dubs. And Aaron just watching all this unfold for now. Are they still side by side? Nathan to the inside. And that could have ended horribly with Nathan getting sent. But it looks like Dubs left some space, but that's freed up these two a little. Lap 8 then. And I said China was good for battling as well. There's swapping going there. What on earth? As Nathan under pressure from dropping down to last here with Aaron, who's now getting his elbows out. Keeps swapping to Martin there. Who's going to be best on the power? It looks like Aaron is. He's all over the back of the Alpine. But Nathan is closing in on Dubs as well. Goes left, tries to go round the outside. A little bit of contact. Nathan goes off the track. He's going to be compromised. Squeezes Aaron over to the right. I don't know if he left enough space, but he's managed to stay ahead for now. I don't think I've ever watched so much battling at the back. This is great. But the 5 of them have kind of departed a little here. And again, it's all thanks to Dubs because he was ahead of them all. And now he stays in front of these two. And they're really losing hand over fist time. Nathan's doing that a lot. He's trying to pressure them to go wide. And actually, it's worked this time round because now he'll get the switch on the RB. But he can't quite find the gap he's confident to go in. This might hurt some people's eyes, but to me, I think it's still pretty fun as there's nothing happening at the front for now. They're all getting very close to one another, however. And look at Cookster. He's out of battery. Sorry, that's Eggy. Look at Cookster. He's flying past with the battery. Cookster is up into the podium, but he's gone deep, and Eggy will now switch back into turn 2. Cookster, can he hang it around the outside? I'm sure Eggy will leave the room. He will. Slight contact. You can see the sparks coming off with the Ferrari and the Mercedes. What a great battle as Eggy back in front of Cookster. As now Toby's all over the back. And he goes down the inside. But he's got it stopped quite late, so Cookster will retake the place. And he loses it. And Samurai, so lucky not to get sent off and lose his front wing there. But I'm sure that must have halted his momentum. And now it's 3rd, all the way down to 8th, fighting. So what's that? 6 cars. 6 great drivers as the top 2 pulling ever further away. Martin pulling even more further away from Grush, who's actually not losing too much time from the Aston, considering the hards are the much better tyre now. But all aboard the Eggy train. Eggy, who's had multiple podiums. Cookster, who wants his first podium. Oh, this is going to be a cool angle. Samurai kind of ruined that on the inside, but whatever. They're all pretty even in terms of battery, though. Look at that. That's extremely even throughout all of them. Any sorts of moves happening? Not quite. They've just got to watch. They're braking as Samurai to the inside. Wants to get on with it. Can't quite get past Toby, though. That was a very cheeky dive. Lap 10. None of them in the pits. So they have smarts because they don't want to blow up their tyres at the end. Eggy making sure not to come under the same sort of pressure he did last lap. Goes wide, but will cut back inside now and hold on to 3rd for now. Samurai all over the back of Toby, but his teammate making him being put in a Williams sandwich. Fnatic versus Samurai. We saw this a bit in the second half of last season. We're seeing it again in the second race this season. Fnatic to the inside of Samurai. Leaves the space. Samurai round the outside. Has he got the momentum? Not quite. Fnatic placed his car perfectly to make it a Williams 5 and 6 now, as Charlie has actually been doing really well, unless Christian's lost a lot of time. Charlie's up into the points again. Well, fair play, considering he had a spin, and same with Cal. So, three-way fight for something that actually matters now, a point, as the other three are left behind as Dubs has pitted. And speaking of pitted, we're definitely going to start to see the medium runners in soon. I think Grusha's lost a whole second in the last lap. But the undercut is quite good. But Martin has some great pace. Look at this. 6 cars all fighting for the podium. And Sash, unfortunately, just falling a bit behind these guys. Is there any sort of movement? They're a bit spaced out. What do Williams do? Because Fnatic's been on a brilliant charge since dropping down to last. Still don't know really what happened to him. Grush stays out. Do any of these guys pit? Nope. Fair play, to be honest. They should all make it to the end then in terms of tyre wear. In terms of fuel, though, still under fuel. Still under fuel. Yep. Yep. Okay. Toby trying to get a move on. He sees his teammate right behind him with 100%. Trying to overtake Cookster, who's taken a bit of a back seat now to Eggy. He braked very early there. I thought Toby was going to be very close to him, and he was. Toby spies a gap. That is opportunistic on the Ferrari. That could have ended horribly. Toby itching to get on with this. Clearly not showing a lack of pace for any sort of swap between the Williams. So this will be it. Whoever's ahead will have track position. The other will have to stay out one more lap. But in the case of Williams, I don't think that's an issue. Fnatic, I can bet, will be the last one of these lot to pit, as Cookster has been caught by Toby on the exit there. Side by side throughout the long right-hander. And now they're going to go wheel to wheel along the back straight. Cookster and Toby, who's going to prevail as they dart past the camera angle? And Toby has broken less than Cookster in the first stage, but in the second stage gets it stopped, parks it ahead of the Ferrari, and is up in a P4. He's got the move done, and they're all still carrying on. I'm very surprised that none of them have pitted that lap. But Cookster out of battery now, under big pressure from the second Williams. Fnatic to the inside. It was a Williams 5-6, now it's a Williams 4-5, but Cookster is not done, getting his elbows out, contact after contact with the side pod. Leaves the room, though, for Fnatic to now get his elbows out, and Schur's ahead of Samurai while all that was happening. Using his hards to good effect now. So Fnatic's got the move done. Will Cookster send it to the inside? No, he'll be hanging back for now. So the Williams have got Cookster within the span of nearly a lap. As oh, Charlie's left. As it looks like Schur's going to get the move on Cookster as well. So Cookster, within the span of a lap, has lost 3 places to both Williams and Schur, who in the span of a lap has gone from 8th to 6th. So all of these swaps allowing Eggy just to hang on a little bit here. And now we're going to see some chaos in the pits, I think. As Cal has done pretty well to get himself all the way back up to 9th, be best of the rest, you would call it, I guess. And Christian still doing well to hold onto that point. But now surely we're going to begin to see some pit stops. Not from the likes of Aston Martin, though. They're both on the hards. As no sorts of swaps yet. Is Grush in? No, he's going out for another lap. What about Eggy? Nope. Toby, no. Fnatic, no. Schur, no. Cookster's in. Samurai! What? Oh, no. Samurai has gone straight on in pure Red Fire Tiger fashion. I think, was there a bump? Did he not know he had to slow down enough? Well, he knows now, unfortunately. And that may take him out of contention. He was at the back of the train anyway. And he has now got to... Well, they will change his wing. Samurai's gone straight on at the wall. I guess he's looking to still be in the race. That was a much harder hit, I think, than yesterday. I don't know, it could have, maybe not have, but just switching to his onboard. Nice graphics there. That's a really weird looking wing. I mean, he's got the end. He's got the actual wing part, but the okay. Anyway, Samurai has come out ahead of Charlie on the hards, and they've put a pretty unconventional kind of wing on the car. Sasha fighting away with Nathan. So Sasha's doing a 2-stop. Okay, interesting. But Cookster is freed up then. As there's a swap with the Williams because Toby, for the second race in a row, has spun after being in a great position. And now the Williams, who has the priority, is Fnatic. As we have, oh no, Cookster as well! In the same lap, 2 of the big names in this race have had a spin, have had an off. As Scher trying to fight the Williams. Grush is finally in. These guys, oh, that's probably a warning for Eggy. I don't think you can cut that inside and get away with it. It's all happening. It's all kicking off. So Toby's in. Eggy's in. Grush is in. Fnatic staying out to do half the race on mediums. Is that both Willie? No. Toby's pit, yeah. Oh, well. That's such a save for Cookster. And Samurai. Even after all that, Samurai gets ahead of Cookster. I can't ride on board or look at Samurai for the rest of this race now. That's so fucking funny. Alright, Eggy exits the pit lane. Grush further down the road. So Grush, let's keep an eye on this, is 29 seconds off the lead. We've got yellows. Oh no, has Cookster's done the same thing? He's done the same thing. Now that is Red Fire Tiger 2.0 with the Ferrari. As, it's gone from bad to worse, unfortunately, for Cookster. So yeah, Grush 29 seconds off the leader. Cookster, unfortunately, becomes the first retirement of the race. That's very unfortunate. He just lost it at this part of the track. Well, and the race has kind of unfolded there. As we see the two McLarens very close to one another. Grush closing up to Cal. Will Cal let Grush through, or will he hold him up? Grush has actually caught him at a pretty nice part of the track, however. And it depends on who is going to blast and who's not. Cal is blasting now. So will Grush. And Cal's still keeping his battery on. So will he play the team game? He's stopped blasting now. Grush to the inside. No, he's getting stuck behind Cal a bit here. Cal runs wide though. And Grush should be able to get the move there. So there, good stuff as Fnatic's in. Aston 1-2 then. Here at China. Fnatic will exit the pit lane then. As Toby finds himself on the back of Sasha, who'll be pitting again. And where does Fnatic come out in response to Eggy? There's Fnatic, there's Eggy, who had to think for a sec there of his normal line, and he'll go round the outside. Fnatic, has he overcut Eggy? On one lap fresher hards, Eggy to the inside. Fnatic still trying to warm his up, and Eggy will just about stay in front of Fnatic. But yeah, that's once again excellent tyre management from the Williams, and this time round, unlike last week, it may pay dividend as Dubs fighting away with the ghost car Charlie and Christian. So Dubs has managed to undercut Christian by 4 laps. I mean, fair play. Cal's still out there in P4. It's an Aston 1-2. It's a McLaren 3-4. So Williams 6-8. We see Fnatic all over the back of Eggy. We see Toby all over the back of Sasha. So 29 seconds, remember? It's gone down to 26. Now the gap between Martin and Grush was about 4-ish seconds. So Grush is only eating into the gap that he was trailing. He's yet to actually extend a gap from less than a pit stop. So if Martin were to pit now, he'd still emerge ahead. So Grush has still got to push on here. Every corner is critical for your undercut to work out. Fnatic closing up to Eggy. He sees he's doing that, and he burns the rest of his battery. So Fnatic to the inside. Is he going to get past the Mercedes? Darting into turn 1, and Fnatic looks like he's got it done, and he has. Eggy has fallen behind the Williams, and Fnatic, after I'm sure it must have been a bit of a disappointing race for him last week, is starting his charge much better in Shanghai. As there's Toby getting past Sasha. That was always going to come shortly after. So let's see what the actual order should be. It will be Martin, then Grush, and then after Scher and Cal make their pits, Fnatic should be on the podium. And considering Toby was 3rd, Fnatic was 5th in quali, at the moment it looks like Fnatic will be 3rd and Toby will be 5th in the race. So they've swapped around. It may have been a Williams 3 and 4 if Toby hadn't had that spin. But they're managing to live up to that promise of what everyone thought of them being a great team in the second half, because it hasn't exactly come true yet. As there's Fnatic getting past Cal. But if this carries on, this race will definitely be up there for them. So Cal, maybe the first time he's battling these guys for a while. Granted, he starts to make his pit stop. There's Scher into the pit lane on lap 17. And that is exactly what Grush needed. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 35.4. As Fnatic beats that by 4/10 after putting the hammer down, but he's 7 seconds behind Grush. So I don't know about that one. But he's pulling away from Eggy, who I don't know if he has the pace on those hards right now to compare. And we'll see if Toby can chase him down. And Samurai, after that wing change, well, we know Sash will pit again, so he'll be 6th. But Scher has come out of the pit lane on mediums and is right behind Samurai, so he should be able to get him and see how much he can close up to Toby once Sasha makes his second stop as well. So Dubs currently fighting away with Christian, and Cal should be able to get them both. And Charlie, who's still not in the race, in P12. Nathan a bit on his own now, ahead of Aaron. So remember, the gap was 29 seconds between Grush and Martin when Grush pitted. He's got it down to 22. So Martin will pit, will come out behind Grush, and then it'll be down to him to chase him down, and we'll see how good Grush's pace is. He's starting the straight with about 30% of battery, and he's blasted down to 10, so you know he's giving it everything. So far this lap he's actually gained a couple tenths on Fnatic, so that's good to see. Martin's in then. This is the lap I assumed he would pit. So Grush on the start finish straight then, blasting his battery, keeping over to the right and taking that esport line. Martin will exit the pit lane. There is Grush then to get back into the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. And now it is down to Martin to close him down. The gap, 1.6 seconds between Papaya and Aston. And you'd assume Martin will be able to close that and get him. I'm sure Grush would have wanted the gap to be a bit bigger than that, but he's got to make do and hope Martin's mediums start to wear out by the end. The longer he can hold him off, the better. But we're going to see a right fight for the lead once again. We have yellows. Oh no, Toby again for the second time this race, as Sasha doesn't know which way to go to try and maximise the opportunity he sees here. But he chooses the inside, and Toby, even on spun tyres on the exit, looks like he'll manage to stay in front just about. But Toby, second time in this race now he's had a moment like that, as we have yellows. Why do we have yellows? That yellow looked like it came from... Oh! I think that came from Martin. I'm pretty sure it did. Well, Grush was hoping for a bigger gap. There's the bigger gap. Martin, who was 1.6 seconds behind Grush, looks like he's just had a moment there and has lost 2 seconds to the Papaya. And that is definitely going to be a key point in this race that we'll probably talk about at the end, because now his job is twice as hard to close up to the McLaren. This lap is where... Well, he's already out of battery. I was going to say this lap should be his quickest lap of the race, as Scher gets ahead of Samurai. Pretty tidy move from the Aston. His teammate, though, well, he's got to put the hammer down, and Grush will be much less tense now, but he still has to get on with it. He's been thrown a lifeline here, and we'll see how much he makes use of it. Fnatic pulling away from Eggy more and more, but Eggy's a bit more confined to P4 now because Toby, as we see, Samurai still fighting away with Shirt. Two very respectful and clean drivers fighting away, but it looks like Shirt's managed to have this. And on those mediums, he'll, oh my god, that Red Bull wing. Try and close up to Sasha, who's on 7 lap-old mediums now. He actually might come out behind Christian and Cal here. As flying past, there goes Cal on Christian. So 3.6 this time last lap has already been cut down by a second from the Aston. So if he didn't make that mistake, you could assume he would be right behind the McLaren right now. But he's already out of battery. That Aston, very quick to deploy. So once they cross the line, 9 laps to go. And if you just look to the top right, we'll quickly compare their lap times. Grush crosses the line, say 1:35.8. Martin crosses the line, say 1:35.3. So we gained half a second overall. Sasha coming under big pressure from Shirt and Samurai. Shirt has more battery than him. Sasha not choosing a blast. Shirt choosing a blast. And now that'll allow him up in a P6 for the Aston. And Samurai will be hoping to do the same. But look how little battery he has compared to these two. Sasha still has a yellow fuel light. Samurai trying to push Sasha through the corner there. Getting on with it. And Sasha will blast to keep ahead for now. What will Samurai do? Will he go to the inside? Can't quite do it for now. But he makes Sasha go a bit deep. But Samurai on the exit will be compromised, and the Haas gets Badman running, I guess, just midway through the straight, and Samurai's ahead of the Haas, who was yet to stop, who's all over the back of the Oracle logo, and Samurai's got back ahead of the Haas overall. And now Sher begins his chase on Toby. After that spin, it's put him back quite a bit. And wouldn't Aston love to have 2 cars in the top 5? That'd be a brilliant result for the green outfit. So Martin's close to what the gap was when he exited the pit lane a couple laps ago, but he's using up those mediums. I'm sure by this time, without that error from him, as Grush does a 36.1 and Martin does a 34.8. So he's clearly pushing and giving absolutely everything. But like I said, this is where he's using the best part of his medium tyres. He would have definitely been clear of Grush by now, I think, with using the best part, but now he's having to use the second best and the third best life stage of them, and that's what's going to help Grush level out his chances of winning, as Sasha's got a penalty. So Cal's chances of P8 in this race might still be there, as he's pulling away from Christian. So 7 and a bit laps to go then, and the fight for the lead is on. Don't know how many warnings these two are on, but it looks like they've been keeping it pretty clean. Grush knows what he needs to do. They're pretty identical in terms of battery. Grush hasn't exactly got that section of track right, and now Martin is all over the back of the McLaren. Grush, who lost out last week fighting Dello for the win, could lose out again fighting Martin for the win. The longer he keeps that Aston behind him, the better, because he knows those mediums will start to break up at the end. And Grush blasting all his battery to keep in front. Martin looks like he's going to plan this for the straight to overtake, making Grush blast, but has Grush got enough to hold off on the straight? Martin's got about double his battery. He's got a good run. Slight wobble on the rear, but Grush is out, and that's going to allow Martin to pull to the left and retake the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix with 7 laps to go. And now it's just down to Grush to see, can he keep with? Can he spring an attack back at the end, or will Martin sail off now to his first victory in just his 2nd race? Toby under big pressure now from the other Aston, who's looking for a charge. Can Sher go around the outside? He's not close enough for now. Samurai, without that wing change, could have maybe been ahead of both of these guys here in 5th, as Cal is ahead of Sasha, as Sasha makes his pit stop onto hards. Not exactly the best strategy from the Haas, who's got a lot of work to do, actually, as there's a swap. Scher ahead of Toby. Looks like he went to the inside, but Toby's still fighting this back to the inside on the Aston, trying to hang it around the outside. Toby has done very well there to regain the place on the Aston. That was a great camera angle. And Toby back in front, because I don't know if Scher really would have caught Eggy per se, but that's great to see that Toby's getting his elbows out. But Scher's not done with him. To the inside. The Aston trying to make Toby just have a mistake or two, and that'll allow him to get a good exit. We can see Grush as well is still keeping within a second of the Aston of Martin. Scher, though, pretty level battery with Toby, but he's in the slipstream now of the Williams. Gaining, pulling to the left, switching to the right. Goes Scher, DHL board, heavy braking, side by side. Has Scher got the move done? Yes, he has. As Toby goes wide, and he's got it done. And it looks like he might have the battery to just hold off from the charging Williams, who will not give this up. Scher trying everything he can to break the toe, and he's just going to run out of battery at the end of the straight, but it's enough to get the move done. Classic overtaking maneuver from Scher. Toby spies a gap that really wasn't ever going to be available heading into the corner. So yeah, 5th place, making it 2 Astons in the top 5. At the moment they're bringing a great haul of points, same with Williams. And now Samurai will look to close up to Toby. However, he is 1 lap older with his tyres. So about Sasha, he's got to close up to Christian, big tyre offset, and then not only has he got to gain 9 seconds, but he's got a 3 sec. So Cal may get P8 here. Best of the rest, no kidding. Grush still keeping pretty well in a second ahead of Martin, but bit by bit he's losing a few tenths here and there. There is the Haas commanding his way past the Mercedes. Christian back up the inside, can't quite get the move done, as Aaron's got a 3-second time penalty. That'll put him even more last, and looks like Sasha's got the move done. Nathan, who finished 11th last week, looks like he's going to finish 11th today. The Nico Hulkenberg, I guess, of this season at the moment. Toby still keeping with Scher, to be fair to him. Grush now 1.4 behind Martin, with 5 laps to go. However, as I'm just doing the math in my head now, Martin 12 and 25 puts him on 37 points. Grush 18 and 18 puts him on 36 points. So if we finish like this, Martin will lead the championship by 1 point ahead of Grush. So I guess whoever wins out of these two will lead the championship. Fnatic 8, 15, 23 points for him. Dello on 25. Eggy 10, 12, 22 points for him. 1 point behind Fnatic. Scher and Toby still fighting it out. Samurai just keeping a bit of a constant distance to them at the moment. Let's just look at the fuel lights again. So Martins has gone, so he's fine. Sasha's still got that fuel light, and looks like he's the only one to have that. So can Sasha gain, what is that, 11 seconds nearly in 5 laps? I don't think so. Cal may have just been done enough here thanks to not the greatest strategy from Sasha. However, Sasha will be scoring his first points in Tier 2, so that's also pretty promising. As we see Toby closing back up to Scher. He's not done with the Aston Martin. Down the inside goes the Williams. Scher leaves him the space, and the Williams in front momentarily, and Scher will still fight this on the exit, but Toby has won out to get back in front. Scher on the curb now blasts his battery. Toby hasn't got much. Scher can see the red light flashing, so now is his time to strike. He'll go to the left. Can he roar around the outside? Can Branco? He's gone actually too deep and nearly dips it into the grass. So a bit too committed there, and Toby back in front now. Great scrap between these two, putting on some action, as the rest pretty spaced out. So Scher once again fighting away with Toby, who now decides to blast. Sure, late braking, trying to go around the outside. This is allowing Samurai to close in. Toby leaves just enough space, closes off the inside. Now Sure has a moment that he can go to the inside to retake fifth, but Toby hangs it back around the outside. Great stuff between these two. That was so weird. Toby had 50 odd %, but he decided to blast it right towards the end of that little straight. And then Sure, there wasn't a gap, and then just Toby, well, the nature of the track opens up, so Sure saw an opportunity, but Toby is brilliant at that section just to hang it around the outside there. Considering these cars have 30% less downforce, he really did. That's so goofy. Yeah, he really did do a great job there, but Sure now back on the attack. Grush still 1.5 behind Martin, 3 laps to go. Sure lifting to save a little bit of battery, trying to sort of switch back on the Williams driver there. He loses the car slightly, but can he still get it done? It looks like he can. Great move from the Aston. 50%, 30% for Toby. So now Sure should be able to pull away. Slight dipping into the grass, but Sure's got the place back. This is a great battle between them. Samurai closing bit by bit. And Grush unfortunately just falling bit by bit more and more behind on the Aston. If there was a time for the Aston's tyres to die for Grush, it would be now. And even if it died now, I don't know if he would gain enough. Yeah, we caught that. He went very wide there and he lost nearly 2 tenths. I wonder if he's just trying to push the car a bit more than what it's capable of. Fnatic has pulled away from Eggy 7 seconds since he overtook him. I wonder if this fight between Sure and Toby will be going down to the wire, and you never know, Samurai could get involved in this. What about Sasha? He's closed it to 4 seconds. It's still not going to be enough. Oh, Sure catching Toby napping a little, catching myself napping a little. Toby with the switchback, placing his car perfectly to inches away from taking them both into a spin, but Sure just hanging on there. 70%, Toby 60%. Pretty equal battery. Samurai blasting everything to try and keep with. They're still blasting. Toby spies a gap to the inside. Once again, Sure lifts early. And can he try a switch back again? Not quite. Toby parks it perfectly. They're getting on the power. Grush has actually taken a little bit out of that gap to to Martin, but he's actually lost it heading into turn 1. Sure, once again, more battery than Toby, but only just. So Sure's going to have to once again commit around the outside, but Toby goes deep himself. So he'll be able to go to the inside there. The inside is so much more rewarding than the outside, and Sure will have to try again. And now Samurai's all over the back of the Aston Martin, and now he could get the move. Could the Red Bull? And out of nowhere, he's taken it. Sure, who was 5th a lap ago, is now down to 7th. I really did think he would overtake Toby and then he would pull away. But those mediums, 10 laps old, and now they are falling off. And Samurai out of nowhere, after making a wing change, could be seeing himself fighting for P5 here. Grush has lost a bit more time though this lap, as we're heading on to the final one. And this 3-way scrap, it's not over. Samurai definitely needs to save a bit more battery though, if he wants to get Toby. These two have fought on the last lap before. Vegas, I believe, they were fighting for 5th and 6th, where Toby won out. Is this Samurai's chance to get him back for that? Last lap has been started by Martin in turn 1, followed by Grush. Same with Fnatic. Eggy will follow soon. And then these three. Samurai not close enough to get the Williams just yet. Sasha has closed up to the back of Cal. So he's got 1 lap to pull, not only overtake him, but pull 3 seconds on him. Samurai out of battery. That's going to help Toby out. Cal's mediums are falling off the cliff. Sasha's got plenty of life still left in those. Pretty low battery for them both. And I don't really see a world in which Sasha's going to get Cal, 3 seconds. Here comes Samurai to the inside. Goes the Red Bull on the Williams. Goes slightly deep. Bangs tyres with Toby. Makes him go wide. And he's got ahead. But Toby has been fierce throughout this part of the racetrack. And once again, he's back in front. I wonder if Samurai maybe just didn't think that move was on. So it looked like he didn't push and pull away enough. So no love lost. Toby's back in front. They go again. While the leaders are making their way through the final sector. Sasha's got ahead of Cal. Just about. But he's got half a lap to try and gain 3 seconds. These three still fighting it out. Martin 2 seconds ahead of Grush, who is looking set for his first ever victory in Tier 2. Martin wins the Chinese Grand Prix. He is a race winner for the first time, and he takes the championship lead ahead of Grush, who comes home second, and Fnatic will complete the podium with a great P3. And here we go then. The three-way fight for P5. Samurai versus Toby. Samurai round the outside of the Williams, who's got the inside line. Can he get on the power? He's got the inside line. Toby squeezes him onto the grass there. Samurai to the inside. Can he get the move? He's slightly compromised there. Toby actually goes off the track there to keep the place. And he will be 5th. Samurai 6th. Sure 7th. But will there be questions asked that Toby went off the track there to keep hold of the place? Was Samurai ever ahead? Not too sure. Anyway, Eggy came in 4th. Toby 5th. Samurai 6th. Sure 7th, and Sasha did not get 3 seconds ahead of Cal, who comes home for P8. Sasha 9th for his first points in Tier 2. Christian will come home for P10 as well, so a good point for the Mercedes. Dubs 11th, but Nathan will inherit it. And then, yeah, Charlie will probably get disqualified. So Martin's done it then, right at the end there. His fists go in the air with celebrations. There was so much promise and talk after that social race that he was definitely going to be a contender, was the rookie. And in the second race of the season, he's certainly shown that. Very good drive from him. Grush, I'm sure, will be slightly gutted to have lost another win, but consistent as ever, second and second. And only 1 point between them at the top. Fnatic, that'll be much more appreciated that he's back on the podium. And Eggy, another consistent drive for some good points. But yeah, that battle with Toby, I don't know about that with going off the track. If he gets any sort of pen, that promotes Samurai to 5th, Sher to 6th, and Toby will be down to 7th, depending if it gets reported or not. But for Martin, flawless drive. The hard medium always looked like it was going to be the better strategy anyway. Right, let's get the top 3 in. This will be the first time I ever interview Martin as well. Invite Martin. Invite Grush. And where's Fnatic? There he is. Fnatic. Oh, interviews are actually working this week. That's good to know. Right, we have the top 2 joining the party at the moment. There we go. We have all 3 in the party right now. That was very quick. That's great to see. The quickest 3, I guess. Right, so Fnatic, are you there, mate?
Yeah.
Have you included your audio?
Yeah.
Perfect. Grush, are you there, mate?
I am.
Have you included your audio?
I have.
Awesome. Martin, are you there, mate?
Yes.
Have you included your audio?
Yes.
Fantastic. Right, this is the first time I'm ever speaking to Martin, and what a well, there's not a better opportunity to do so. Martin, you are a race winner in EXFL Tier 2. Very nice to meet you. Well bloody done today. That was a fantastic race from you. Executed to perfection. Had a little scare towards the end there. We'll get into that. But Well, what a great drive as you now take the lead of the championship by 1 point ahead of Grush. Let's hear your thoughts on the race and quali in general, and just what are the feelings going on right now? How are you?
I'm speechless. Manx are also not the best, so I give my best. Yeah, qualifying was good. First try with the softs, then the second was at the end the best. I won the third run, but I don't look to the lot, and yeah, unlucky. But second was amazing, and then um, in the race I go with the hard run. I was I think on the top 5 the only one with the hard.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Top 7 actually.
Oh, okay. And yeah, the hard was pretty good, and was very great. But then the second stint with the mediums, I don't know why, but the yellow or the mediums was so slippery, so I don't feel comfortable. How to say that?
Comfortable.
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, was a little bit tricky, but at the end I'm so happy with the win. And yeah, GG to my teammate Franco. I think he was on the 7th place.
Yeah, he was in a big fight for 5th.
Was a little bit unlucky last round on him, but I would say for Team S was good points.
It certainly was indeed. So yeah, P2 in qualifying. From the social race, there was just such I don't even know the word. There was such like a hype around you that you were certainly going to be a big part of this season as the rookie, like the top rookie, I guess. And then the first race happens last week, and I'm sure you must not have been as happy to maybe start the season off how it went, with not the greatest qualifying, but you managed to fight your way up to 4th. And then today seemed a lot more where that promise came from. And you've definitely tossed your hat into the ring now to be leading the championship already in the second race. It was a fantastic race. Your first win, which in terms of your league racing career, you will not forget. It was a fantastic way to do it. It was all happening right at the end with your teammate fighting that I only caught you when you were going around the last corner to cross the line and win. But it's great to see the emotion and how happy you are. So that's great to know. So yeah, when you came out the pit lane, you were 1.6 behind Grush, and then I saw a yellow, but I didn't actually see any car stopped per se, but it was near where the leaders were. And then I noticed the gap went from 1.6 to 3.6. So I'm guessing. Well, just take us through it. Well, what exactly happened?
I don't know why the mediums, but they was so slippery, and it was just traction lost and overtake button, and in the man, so bad.
No, it's completely fair. No, it's perfectly fine. So yeah, you just made a quick mistake. The mediums obviously as well cold because they're out of the garage quickly.
Yeah, just a mistake. Maybe the hard was definitely better than the mediums, for my opinion.
Yeah, and it makes the win ever more worth it because you had to fight, push that little bit more than what you maybe would have been hoping for. So a very well-earned victory, and definitely one to watch. So next week, the Japanese Grand Prix, round 3. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
Japan, normally a cool race, but yeah, we will see. I'm just surprising. Mm. Look, but
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll see if you can keep the momentum. I'm sure, obviously, you noticed Dello and the likes of Dello and Yannick weren't racing today from last week. So hopefully they'll be back next week, and we might even have all four of you fighting out for this win. But once again, back-to-back races where we've had a fight for the win go to the end, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, very well done on your first win of I'm sure will be quite a few this season, and I can't wait to see where you are come 18 weeks time. So yeah, very well done, and enjoy your evening with being the newest race winner in EXFL Tier 2.
Thank you very much. And
Moving on to
GG,
our...
just one sentence to Grosh. GG, you are very fast. So I was completely sweating all of time, so GG, you are really fast, Grosh.
Grush, are you there, mate? Okay, cool. Yeah, so moving on to P2, Grush, yeah, great showmanship there between our top two. Again, it was another fantastic pole position. Oh yeah, that was it. It looked like Martin didn't quite get his time managed perfectly because he wasn't able to do his final run. But nonetheless, Grush, you managed to do once again 2 runs right at the end, but the last one, I guess, didn't really matter. The first one's what counted. So to take your 8th career pole position, how was the lap?
Yeah, just again consistently improving every lap, and that I knew that it needed to be a fast time, especially when my mindset is lap and that. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to pull something out here. It was a personal best for me, so I just come together. I don't mind China, it's a good track for me. It's not one of my best, but again, I was looking forward to going into it, and we're really happy with that lap, especially to get pole as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. 2 for 2 now in pole positions. You're really proving yourself to be probably the best qualifier on the grid, which is great to see. So the race begun. Obviously, there was a bit of a fight happening behind. So you managed to extend to a second. Then obviously Martin's hards became pretty good, and you were just trying to hang on to the mediums, it seemed. The undercut went pretty well. I guess you always knew kind of how the race was going to transpire. When you saw, take us through what you were thinking when you saw Martin come out only 1.6 behind, and what was your mindset there? And then when he made his mistake, what were you thinking then?
Yeah, I knew that I would get the undercut, but obviously it would be on the fresh mediums. It wouldn't take him long to pull me in. The strategy was to try and keep him behind as long as possible, and wear his tyres down. And then I'm coming into that final back, and I see the yellow flags, and I'm praying that I couldn't look away for that split second because I was coming around that bad right hand. But then I looked up, and that gap had gone up to 3.2 or 3.6, and I'm like, oh, thank you. I thought I may have had a chance, but he just had phenomenal pace. There were no keeping him back, and I tried every which way. I tried different battery managements and everything, but eventually he caught me up, and that were it then.
Yeah, exactly. At least you can take away the consistency to get P2 and P2 in the first 2 races. You're only 1 point off, and you stay where you are in the championship anyway, gaining a bit more ground as well on everyone else behind. So it's still showing promise, but I'm sure you definitely want that first win of the season. Obviously, we're heading to Japan in 1 week. 3rd time's the charm, perhaps. What are your thoughts heading into Suzuka?
Yeah, I enjoyed the track. It's very difficult to overtake on it, but as long as you're consistent and keep within the track limits and that keep the penalties down to a minimum, then I just want that win. I mean, I'm looking at me more consistent this year. Last year, I trailed off, after the first 2 races. So if I can keep that consistency where it is, I'll be happy. I'm looking forward to more battles to come in Martin and the others.
Exactly. Consistency gets you a very long way in this league. It's almost as good as just being the quickest, as you clearly saw last season with Samurai and Oren. So that's great stuff to see. It's also great the respect shown. You're both thinking you're both like the others so quick, which is fantastic. But yeah, very well done to the pair of you. And now we'll move on to our P3 man. Welcome back to the podium, IOR Fnatic. Are you there, mate?
Yeah.
Fantastic job from you, mate. It was a great qualifying by Williams to be 3rd and 5th, and at least for now, that's where you finished, but you both swapped. It was a bit of a race of two halves, really. Just take us through the first opening lap. What happened?
I got hit off at turn 1. It was through wide into the apex. I can't remember who hit me, but they hit my side of the car and it put me off to the runoff area, and obviously I lost all grip, so I was plumb last.
So, okay, we'll have to try and see who that was. But for now, anyway, yeah, you dropped to last, and then by the end of the first lap, you managed to overtake a third of the field and get back into the points. That was some opening lap.
Yeah, I was surprised at that myself. Obviously, me and Lobster put in some better setup adjustments to last week, because last week was a bit of a disappointment for both of us, I'd say, pace-wise. But yeah, going into this week, we made a few setup adjustments, and obviously that probably helped us in race pace, and again getting up on lap 1, which I was surprised about.
Yeah, I was saying a few things about that, how you two may have not been the happiest from round 1. It just didn't look like it came together. Your obviously strategy of trying to go the longest of anyone in the first stint, being the quickest in the second, didn't exactly work out. Also, it didn't help that drifting did what he did at one point. But you looked so much more on it this time around. Obviously, it wasn't easy. You literally did a last to podium technically, which is fantastic. So yeah, bit by bit, you caught the train, overtook Samurai, overtook Sher. Then you were on the back of your teammate Toby, and then I'm going to assume through that long right-hander onto the back straight, Toby just lost it.
Yeah, it was towards the exit. It was an interesting one. Even Lobster said I think that must have just been a snap of traction loss, and he went round. But that was the lap he was going to get anyway, because I was going to go to lap 14, I think it was. So.
It was, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure his tyres must have been very much on the cliff and screaming to be replaced. So they let go just a couple corners from where he would have wanted to. So that put you ahead of him. And then, obviously, when you made your pit stop, you managed to nearly overcut Eggy by a lap, which is crazy. He managed to stay just in front, and then you easily got him, and then pulled away by quite a lot. I think it was 7 or so, 8 seconds by the end.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortable run to the podium right there. I'm sure you saw at least ahead, at least on the graphic, the top two having a little bit of a fight. Did you think you could get any higher than third, or are you pretty satisfied with third? Or
I'll say third is a good place for me today because of what happened lap 1. I did think, into the final corner on the final lap, what could have happened if I didn't get hit off at turn 1, because obviously I lost a few seconds, but I don't know whether I would have been in the fight for P2 at least. So P3 is satisfying feeling compared to where me and Lobster were last week, so we're gonna keep pushing and trying to get up to the quick runners.
yeah, exactly. You are one of the best teams in the field, as shown from the second half. So do expect Williams to be one of the last fighters. We see it all the time in qualifying. Everyone's done, and then it's just you two to see where you go. So never discount the Williams. And yeah, today was a much stronger showing. So what are your thoughts on Japan in a week's time? How do you think you'll go about there?
Well, I always enjoy driving around there. Like Bruce said, it isn't the best circuit for overtaking, so it's just going to be about trying to stay as close as you can onto them 2 final straights and seeing if you get anything to turn more into the chicane at the final corner. So it'll be an interesting race.
Exactly. And it's just in general, this first half of the season, it's cool to see how you're getting on, because obviously we've only seen you in the second half last season. So it's good to see. So 7th from... Okay, no worries. Grush, I'll see you in a bit. See you next week. Grush has got to go quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll see him next week. But yeah, this first half is going to be very interesting to see how you get on. So promoted to 7th after post-race pens in Australia. 3rd today. You're making your way through after the start from last week. So yeah, great stuff today. Very well done. Well done to Grush again on P2, and very, very well done to Martin on his first ever maiden victory and just his 2nd race. Well, the hype was there after the social race, and he's made the hype well worth it. Martin is now in the fight, and he now leads the championship by 1 point. We will see you in 1 week's time then for the Japanese Grand Prix in EXFL Tier 2 Season 13.